A skill we will be working on quite frequently this year is in describing characters. We can describe characters both physically in how they look and also emotionally, how they're feeling. It's important when we describe characters that we go back into the text and we can give evidence for that description or those descriptions. And a common tool that we will be using to record these descriptions of characters is a circle map. So this video shows for you and reviews for you how we can go about, or one way we can go about describing characters in the form of a circle map. Some of those descriptions that we record are those that are directly stated in the text. They are maybe shown in an illustration or they are said directly with words. And we record those along with the evidence, like the page number and the sentence it's found in. Other descriptions that we have about characters are those that we infer, those that we get from clues and the combination of our own background knowledge. And we record these as well, still along with the page number that those clues come from. Just a reminder that we infer when we combine that background knowledge with those clues from the text, and the clues are what we record. The character that I'm going to be using as an example today is Laura from the book that we read in the classroom, The Memory String. Laura is holding her memory string right in front of her. It's a string that has several buttons on it, and each of those buttons holds a memory from a person or a moment in her life. And some of those most fond memories are from her mom, who is no longer living. And so Laura holds those memories dear, but at the same time is learning how to open her heart to someone new in her life, her stepmom. So to set up my circle map for Laura, I start by writing her name in the middle of my page and drawing a small circle around it. I draw a larger outer circle, and in this outer circle is where I will be writing the traits and the characteristics of Laura. You'll probably be able to make your circle maps a little bit neater than I am here drawing on the computer. Around the outside of my page, I draw in what's called a frame of reference. And in this frame of reference is where I write my evidence. The evidence from the text that I'm using to support my descriptions. One of the first things I notice right away and that I can describe about Laura right away is how she looks. I can see from the illustrations that she's got short hair, it's dark. She's also got some dark eyes. And my evidence for that is from page 6, the illustrations that I see. Another literal description I can write about Laura is that she is a cat owner. So I can write that description here in the circle. And then out in the frame of reference, I can put my evidence. From page 7, it states, Whiskers, her black and white cat, lay beside her. I'm going to put quotation marks around that to show that that's coming directly from page 7 in the text. Now, some of the traits that I would say I can infer about Laura is that she is feeling a little bit spiteful. And what that means is that she's like purposely trying to be a little bit hurtful. And the clues that I'm using for that come from a couple of pages, and one of those is on page 7, where it talks about how she pulled this memory string from her family. She pulls it out a lot in front of Jane. So that makes me feel like she's purposely uh, she's purposely trying to like make Jane feel jealous because she pulls it out a lot in front of Jane. And then on the next page, it also talks about when she's talking about these memories in front of Jane, she talks really loud, like she's exaggerating. She purposely wants Jane to hear these memories. Like she's being a little bit spiteful, trying to hurt Jane a little bit. Another trait that I feel like I can infer about Laura is that of course she's in mourning and she's missing her mom. It never directly states that within the text. That's why this is more of an inference. And the reason I know that when that's background information, just experiences. When someone dies, of course you're very very sad. And on directly on page 14, it talks about where she is holding up mom's buttons from the nightgown that she was wearing when she died, and there's a blur in her eyes. I know that blur must be coming from tears. And so although again it never directly states that she is really missing her mom and mourning her loss, it's obvious she is very very sad from these clues and from my background knowledge. And then finally, another trait that I feel I could use to describe Laura is that she's feeling jealous. That's another emotion she's experiencing. And on page 14 again, there's a sentence in here that says she didn't hate Jane. Not really. It was just that Jane had gone and married Dad. So quotation marks, that's coming from the text. So here is the beginnings of a circle map. As I would continue reading and finding and inferring descriptions about Laura, I would continue recording those descriptions or those traits here in this outer circle. And then the evidence, the clues, the support, the proof for those traits go out here in this frame of reference. So one way that we can describe characters and record those thoughts is in the form of the circle map.